Hi everyone, I'm Ben, and this is the Board Game Blueprint. This is part 2 of the series with Brian from ScrapYardArmory about the laser cut buildings. Check the description below for the link to that first video, because in this one, we're going to have Brian walk us through the Inkscape process, in addition to his very holistic approach starting from pen and paper with the initial designs. So this video is going to be a little bit longer, but we'll put a timestamp again in that description to let you know when the Inkscape stuff starts, but definitely encourage and recommend you watch the entire video when you can to really understand where he's coming from with the different mathematics, because that will play a role in this video. Enjoy, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you continue to enjoy this content. Thank you so much. We'll get back to you at the end. Thanks.
Hello everybody, this is Brian, ScrapYardArmory on the Game Crafter chat, and this is a follow-on video to one I made earlier about these 3D buildings. We took a good look at them before, and in this video I'm going to show you how I actually made them, working with the Inkscape to make the cut files and doing the whole process. So let's get started, and it actually starts right here with some pencil and paper. This is something that I do. Maybe you will find this useful, maybe you won't, but I always try to start with a quick sketch to I'm not trying to make anything to scale here, just want to rough out a couple key dimensions. So just to give me an idea, when I start actually going into Inkscape, I'm not just completely flying blind. So let's start with our walls here. So obviously it's going to be a rectangle to start, and this I've decided is going to be about 2 inches tall, okay, and I'll say the width is going to be 0.9 inches. You don't have to be perfect on this, and then you can make adjustments later. So what I want is for the sides of the wall, the sides of the building to kind of dovetail together. So what I really would like to do is to make kind of a grid on this one side that will dovetail into the grid on the other side. So on this side we'll go like that, and something like this. This is not the scale. So wherever there is a gap here, there's going to be a slot on the other side. So it's going to be just offset from each other. Oh, this is not good art, but you get the kind of idea. So each one of these is going to be, since there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, there's going to be 8 gaps, 0.25. And the width, the thickness of each one of these little things is going to be 0.065. This is a really important dimension. You're going to see this a lot, because this is the thickness of the chipboard at the Game Crafter. And you don't have to take my word for it. I've got this little measurement here, this dial here, 0.065. So the Game Crafter is not lying. So I'm going to have a roof that is going to slot into a tab there, and this will be 0.24, and once again the thickness, the height of it is going to be the width of a chipboard, so 0.065. Another little tab in the bottom is going to 0.24, and once again the thickness is 0.065. This will go into a base. This will go into a base that I use, and then the roof simply has to be a square of 0.9, 0.9, with 4 little pegs. Okay, and now I'll make these fit right into here. So in order to do that, I'm going to make that be 0.24, and by the thickness of 0.065, so that when the walls all slot into the roof, they will be flush together. So that's the roof, and then the base is just going to be something I'm not really going to be too concerned over the dimensions of this, but it'll be a hexagon of some kind, and it will need slots to fit these pegs here. And I got a little trick that I'll show you later on how I'm going to actually arrange these, but they'll be 0.24 by, and the thickness here, 0.065. You see a lot of themes in what I'm going for here. And this should get us about where we need to be. So next stop is to head into Inkscape and actually make this a reality. Alright, so let's get started in making our 3D buildings. So the first thing I want to do always is to start with a fresh template from the Game Crafter. This is the custom large punch out, so I would download the Inkscape template right here. I already have that downloaded, so let's open it up and get started. So the first thing I want to do is go to my layers and add a couple more layers for us to work with. The first one would be for our cuts. A second one for our art on the front. And another one for the art on the back. Let's select the cuts, and then we'll just go ahead and hide the proofing overlay for now. And we can get started from our notes and work on our building. So it obviously starts with a rectangle, and that rectangle will be 0.9 inches wide. And if I deselect this, I can make them different dimensions here. 2 inches tall. Let's check the stroke to make sure that's a good value there. One thing that I like to do is to start from like a known point, so I'm going to put this at 1 and 1, and I'll make a couple other alignment things easier as we go. And next would be the sides. So I'm going to make little dovetail sides to this. Okay, one on this side, one on that side. So let's do those. I know that these are going to be, the height is going to be 0.25, and the width is going to be 0.065. That's going to be the width of width of the chipboard. We need a couple of these, 4 on each side. So just copy paste. Now we have everything sorted out here. So to distribute these vertically, I'm just gonna, since I know that my main building is at 1 and 1, then I know on this side I want this to be at looking at the y coordinate, so 1.25. The next one is going to be at 1.75. The third is going to be at 2.25, and the fourth is going to be at, right at the top, 2.75. Now in order to align all these together, we're going to use the handy Align and Distribute tool. This is under Objects if you don't have that open right there. So we're going to relative to the biggest object, which is our main face of our building, and we are going to align. Let's see, which one do I want? Here we go. This one looks about right. Aha. This aligns right edges of the objects to the left side of the anchor. Awesome. So let's select all those again because we need to put the same opposite thing on the other side. So copy paste. Now I know that the y coordinate for these needs to be at 1 to place these at the bottom. See now the slot here is going to have a tab there, slot there, etc. And then going up to the we'll select the main wall again, and the relative to the biggest object, we will put it there. Easy so far. So we're going to need a small tab for our roof. That's going to look like this. And this will be, the width is 0.24, and the height would be 0.065. And we will center this, once again going to our Align and Distribute. We will center on vertical axis, so now these are now centered. Let's check the height of this. Let's see, I want it to be close, but not too close to the top of that. That's 0.8. Maybe we'll move that up just a little bit. Now I'll have to center this again after this. Yeah, 0.7, that sounds good. So let's select these up again, make sure they are centered, and good. The last thing we need for the walls is going to be the slot that's going to fit into the base. So let's get the rectangle tool and start with another little rectangle. Now one thing I'm going to do different with this is I'm going to make it a little bit rounded. By pulling this little circle thing, you can make it rounded off a little bit. So that sounds good. We are going to make the height 0.065, and we're going to make the width 0.24. And then selecting the face of our wall, we're going to center it, and then we are also going to, let's see, vertically we want this. So that positions it correctly now. And the reason you want the little round here is because this is a tab that's going to fit into a slot. You want it to kind of be able to self-center itself. And the little round edge there helps that. If it's really sharp, sometimes you run the risk of it getting jammed and peeling back the paper, and it's just not good. I don't want this little rounded shape on the bottom here, though. I want this to be nice and sharp going into the bottom of the wall. So I'm just gonna, now that I know that it's positioned correctly, I can just bring this up, and now it is ready to merge everything together. So this should be holding Shift in order to select everything but that, and all we need to do is to go to Path and Union, and there is our wall all ready to go. So let's see our roof. The roof is going to be, let's make this a sharp corner there, and the roof is going to be 0.9 by 0.9, and we can kind of just drag this over there, and yes, that looks correct. And then the only thing that the wall needs, the roof needs, is the 4 tabs one on each side. And these, we will have that just a little bit of a round there, because we want this to self-center it a little bit. So this is going to be, the height is 0.065, and the width is going to be 0.24. And we'll need a couple of these. So there's one for the top, one for the bottom, and one for this side, and one for that side. This one we will move like that. This one will go like this. All right. So let's center these things up. Oops, yeah, there we go. And we will center these on the relative to the biggest object. We'll center them there. And then this one, working with them individually, this one needs to be, whoops, center it again, and then this, there we go. Now deselecting, and this one needs to be tight to that side, so I think that would be this one here. This align and distribute is going to make all aligning things up really easy. And this one is going to be aligning horizontally, and then the anchor is going to be here. And then this one will be aligning horizontally, and then this one. So just like the same with the peg going into at the base of our wall, we're going to just, once we have these positioned correctly, this is 0.065, just double check, 0.065. We can then extend that in so that we have a nice sharp edge going in there. Let's do this. Do this, and then select all, Path, and Union. So that will be our roof. We have a wall. The last thing we need is a base. I'm going to go with a little hexagonal base, just because. Let's see. I believe you can hold Control to kind of lock angles and whatnot, so it's nice, and there we go. It's going to be, so I can use a little bit of information from our roof in order to center this, since I know that if you imagine, if this is the roof, the walls are going to go here, 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 right? They're going to be joining kind of at this corner where they're going to dovetail into each other right here. So the positions of these pegs are going to be about where these tabs are, just if you think vertically going into the screen. So we can use that information to help us position these. This is going to be kind of similar to what we did with the roof. So let's make a square, not because I need a square, but we'll make this 0.9 by 0.9. And then we will bring it over here into our hexagonal base. Let's select them, and we will center them horizontally and vertically to get it all positioned. And then let's make our slots. So the height is going to be 0.065. The width is going to be 0.24. And we're going to need a few of these. We're going to need 4 of these. So 1, 2, 3. We'll move that like that. And 4. So these we will position according to the square, and then that should be in the perfect spots on our hexagon, and then we can delete the square when we're done. So let's select this top one there, and we'll align it. And then we will, looking at this, I need, the anchor is there. And same thing for all the others. Whoops. It's okay to make mistakes. All right. So now all these are in the right place. I can delete this safely. And we are almost there. Let's move this over here a little bit. So now let me move things around just a little bit, clean it up. And I'm only going to do this once for one side, and you can easily duplicate it for all the other sides. So this obviously is each building will have 4 sides. Just for the sake of, I'm going to put these in a group so I can move them freely around without messing things up. So this will be duplicated 4 times, but I'm going to do it once, and then it should be obvious how I put it all together. Let's put some art now. So we go back to the layers. Let's go to the art front. We're going to lock the cut so we don't make any changes that we're going to be upset about, and then also move the cuts up to the top. All right, so working with the art front, let's just make some real simple stuff. I mean, you can do some nice concrete stuff or something. Let's see, stroke paint. I don't want a stroke, but I want a fill. I'm going to make that a nice dark gray or something. So this works. You could do a nice concrete texture or something in here, but this works fine for what we're doing, a little demonstration. And same thing for the base. You want to make sure that you have at least a little bit of separation. If I zoom in here, you want to make sure that you at least have 1/8 of an inch. So that'd be about 1/8 of an inch or so right there, to account for any drift that may happen in the design. Now I'm going to do that as well with the wall, but not for the reason you may suspect. So yeah, I'm going to put a nice texture on this but I want a little bit of extra gray around it, just in case there's something sloppy happens. You won't see white. You don't want to have white there. So for the texture, the real texture that I'm going to use, it comes from opengameart.org. This author is Keith333, and you can find a whole bunch of really cool textures here. I've already pre-downloaded one, but you can go get the full selection over here. And I will import this in. This looks good. And I'll do that as a link so I don't create huge. Whoa, all right. So this is huge. We're going to scale this down to size that's usable. So now we're going to position this over our cut lines and mess with it just a little bit to get it to be about where we want. I want to have a little bit of blue there. Yeah, that looks good. Don't want to cut off a window there, so you see if you do get a little bit of drift, I can't prevent this from drifting down, but if it does drift down, it'll get a little bit of this gray, so it won't look too unusual. Let's see, the top. Let's move it like that, so a little top of the building there. So that looks good. And that is about how it's done. So I'm going to quick save this, give it a nice little name. And we are ready to, the back art. So for the back art, I'm going to do something. There's really nothing you're going to see inside the back art, so I guess what I'm going to do, I'm just going to make it gray. I'm going to make the whole thing gray. So we'll take this. This is actually, we're going to cut that. We're going to put it onto the, make sure you always have the right layer selected. That can be tricky sometimes. And we'll just go 0, 0, and we will make that as big as the canvas there. All right, that's going to be perfect. All right, so this looks good. We're going to save it one more time. And now we need to break this up into the component files. So one of the things that the Game Crafter needs is the cut files. For when you do the cut files, they need to be by themselves. So I'm going to do, from this is going to be, I'm going to save. Then I'm going to do a save as, laser demo art, and save as, laser demo cuts. So now I have 2 different files. And on the cut files, I'm going to delete everything. Everything that isn't a cut file is going away, including the proofing overlay, so that we only have the cut lines. All right, next we need to open up that art file, and we're going to export what we're going to import into the Game Crafter. So we're going to go to, we need to go to layers. We don't want to see the cut files. Let's do the front art first. We'll export to PNG, and we are going to do the export the page. This will give us the right width and height. Make sure it's 300 DPI. This will be laser demo art, and we'll add front. Go ahead and export. Then do the same thing with the back art. Back art's pretty boring, but for demonstration purposes, it is what it is. All right, we can now go to open up a new game, and go into large punchouts, and from our move over our front, and go ahead and select the back. And then the cut files. Now this is laser demo cuts. And we're going to be selecting 90 because we are using Inkscape. And we can proof that to make sure that that looks about correct. So before you do this, you'll give a couple more sides of the walls, which would just be this whole thing just duplicated. And we're going to save that. And one more thing, this is the back, approve. One more thing that we can do, and let's go look at this game. Let's see if we can go to the actual cost. We can see the on our large punch out, we're going to do 34.51 inches of travel for 90 cents. Let's see if we can make that a little bit better. So this is Component Studio. This is the optimizer. So let's open our cut file and see if we can make things a little bit nicer. We're going to select the DPI as 90. Let's see. Zoom out a little bit. So obviously these things, let's view the travel paths. We can see kind of where it's going, what it's doing. Maybe we can do a little bit better than that. In addition, we're actually going to also need to put in nicks. So let's see. There is an option to auto sequence, which is going to, depending on the complexity of your cut files, this may or may not work for you. So here we've saved a little bit of cut time by using that auto sequencer. And then let's see. In path click options, we can go to split into equal parts. And we can say 4 parts or so, and this will automatically put the nicks in. So let's select this one, split path. We'll go to this one, split path, and this one, split path. All the other little itty bitty ones, like this one, that doesn't need to be. I mean, I don't care that they fall out of the laser cut board. So that's really it. We'll save this off. So we'll save SVG as cuts optimized. And now we can move that into our game. Let's go back here. So now we can say now that's saved. Approve. And let's see how we improve things. So it was 90 cents to cut before. Obviously this is a little bit of a trivial example, but yeah, 30.98. Saved us 9 cents. Well, in this example it is what it is, but that is how it's done. From obviously for you're gonna duplicate this out and follow the same kind of process, and that is how it's done. So if you have any comments or questions, let me know in the comments and I'll try to get back to you. And I hope this inspires you to do some crazy stuff on your own. It's not as hard as it looks, and you can do some really interesting stuff with it.
And there we have it. I hope this has really set you up for designing whatever kind of custom punch-out you want to create on the Game Crafter, because these same principles that Brian showed us earlier are going to be universal for anything else that you want to create. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you do continue to follow us along with our future videos. I think in the next one, I'll do a little bit more talking. Hopefully we can get to know each other a little bit more, and come up with something that you still like to watch. I'm Ben. This has been another episode of the Board Game Blueprint, and together, let's build something great.